This is the exact SMMA sales script that changed everything for me. And if you don't know who I am, my name's Dan. I've been in the agency space for over 10 years now. I've scaled multiple successful agencies, and I've also worked with over 150 agency owners, helping them scale and achieve great things. Now, in this video, I've decided to really break down the exact framework and script that I use to this day to close multiple 4-figure and 5-figure retainers on a daily basis. Now, if you don't have 10 to 20 minutes to invest into this video, then all I would say is make sure you save it for later, because this could help you increase your close rate and make more money. For those of you guys that know my style, I go straight to the point, I cut the bullshit, and you guys are going to be so much better at closing by the end of this video. So first things first, we are going to be looking at an authoritative based introduction. This is super important, right? It's going to help you position yourself as a trusted agency owner, not necessarily some greasy sales guy, right? So we need to speak calmly at the start of this call, right? Nice and clearly. We don't need to be rushing. The confidence is going to allow you to take control of the conversation. Now, for those of you guys that watch my videos, you know that losing control in the sales call is very, very bad. We need to make sure we remain in that authoritative position and remain control at all times. So, like I promised, I'm going to give you the exact script I use. So, hey, prospect's name. I'm your name. Okay, very simple. You guys can follow along on that. Over the last X months, years, right? Whatever it is it 2 months, 6 months, 10 years? Doesn't matter. We've helped a specific amount of people within that industry, businesses land, and this is obviously dependent on your service, but the majority of the people watching my videos are agency owners helping, people generate revenue through qualified clients, right? So land consistent, qualified clients using our specific method system, okay? Now, this is really important because you want to sound different. It's going to spark curiosity and it's going to get them to have that emotional buy-in into you. Obviously, we need to thank them for their time, right? But we don't actually say thank you. We say, really appreciate you for your time. We don't want to say thank you, okay? I know that sounds really strange, but it's a psychological thing. So once we've done that authoritative based intro, it's time to build the rapport. We do not jump into any questions that are going to dig into their pain points, their goals, any future pace and any pitching until we've built rapport with that specific prospect, okay? So what we really need to do is mirror their tone and energy first, right? Mirroring is super important. For those of you guys that don't know what it is, you're literally just looking at how they are speaking, how they're coming across, and you're mirroring it. So if they're super confident, you're going to be super confident. If they are someone that is a little bit more reserved, a little bit more pragmatic, you're then going to take a step back and you want to be 5% more energetic than them, okay? You basically don't want to have this crazy, Jordan Belfort, Wolf of Wall Street sales style if someone is super quiet, right? We just don't want that because it will automatically put them off, regardless of what the greats say, right? Now, if they're high energy, make sure you're matching it, obviously. So this is how I like to build rapport. I try not to ask about the weather because I feel like everyone does that. Oh, the weather's great today, especially if you're in the UK as well, because we always mention the weather when we're on a sales call and we want to change that, right? So we want to ask some genuine questions like, look, I saw you're based in X. I actually worked with a client there a while back. How are you finding it from a business perspective? This is really good because you can, again, spark some conversations and it's a nice transition into their business, right? And I like to use this one as well if they're like, relatively new into the industry, right? Let's say they're a local business, they're doing 10, 20K a month, right? A quick one before we dive in, what got you into that specific industry? So this is going to allow them to drop their guard, right? We're trying to humanize the call as much as possible. Remember, people buy from people, okay? And you do that via trust building. And we do that via building rapport. So framing, this is something that gets missed on so many sales calls, and it is beyond me. I don't know why it gets missed, okay? I'm going to explain the importance of framing before I even tell you how to do it. Now, the first thing, I know I've put here, it sets the tone and the structure and positions you as a leader, yes. But also, right, if they came onto the call thinking that this is just a strategy call, right, or a discovery call or something like this, we're going to be psychologically telling them that we're going to be looking at onboarding them towards the end of the call if it is a good fit, okay? Which is going to eliminate any kind of, alarm bells in their head that this is just some sort of free strategy call, free audit call, whatever, right? Because I know some of you guys position your ads as a free strategy call, and that's absolutely fine to get people into the funnel, but we want to eliminate that when we're on a sales call so that they don't get to the end of the call and go, oh, sorry, I'm here for my free strategy call, right? Like, We want to make sure that they know it's a sales call at this point, okay? But we want to remove pressure. So here is how we do it. Before we dive in, I want to make sure that this is super valuable for you. Here's how I usually run these calls. I'll ask a few questions to understand where you're currently at and what you're aiming for. If I feel like we can genuinely help, I'll walk you through how we'll do that and what the onboarding looks like. If it's not a good fit, no worries at all. At least you'll leave with clarity, okay? Now, you can also change this part to say, if it's not a good fit, I'll refer you to someone that I believe may be able to help you. Whatever it is, we want to seem like we're trying to help. Now, we're going to get into the juicy part now, okay? So this is really simple. It's literally intro, building rapport, framing. Do not fucking miss framing, okay? Please stop missing framing. So many people miss it. Now, one of the questions that you want to ask if they're coming from an inbound system, why did they book the call today? The reason why, we're going to get that specific pain point straight away. So let's move straight into the discovery phase. Now, the discovery phase is arguably the most important part of the call, okay? This is the one thing that you need to nail because we are going to revert back to the pain points when it comes to handling any objections, okay? So this is what we need to do. We first have to start with a discovery phase deep dive, okay? Now, I'm just going to cover what we're going to do in the discovery first so that you guys understand, right? So what's happening in their business now, what pain or inefficiencies exist, where they want to be, what's in the way, and what happens if they don't change, okay? Now, this is where great closers are separated just from good closers, right? You're not asking questions. You're literally diagnosing a problem. You kind of got to act like a bit of a therapist or a doctor, right? Sometimes when you've asked a question, you want to go even deeper, and to the point where it feels a little bit uncomfortable. But that is where we're going to be able to really create this pain point and understand what it is and then create the solution that goes with the pain point. And we'll kind of talk about that in a second. So we need to understand their current situation. So start really broad, okay? We're then going to go deeper with precision. Like I said, we're going to go further and further into it. And some of the people from my last closing video said, like, how do I transition into this? So I put this little thing here. So walk me through how you're currently generating leads and converting clients. What's working well, what's not, right? This is good starting point. They're going to just start reeling off some information and we're going to understand what's working well and what is not. Now, most of the time, a lot of people don't actually know what the real issue is. Hence why they're on a call with you to understand and then solve that problem, okay? So this is, again, where you need to investigate a little bit and make sure that you're, really kind of pushing that. So we're then going to move on to the follow-up questions, right? Now, this is where we dig so much deeper. What does your average month look like in terms of client acquisition? Now, this is going to be really good because we're going to be able to create the pain point here when they have, very low, but also we can get an understanding of their monthly revenue. So we can understand what package are we going to try and position this at? Because this is really important for you, right? If someone is making 70 grand a month, you don't want to pitch them a £500 retainer. What's the fucking point, right? Because money's not going to be the problem. If you know how to solve that problem, then you need to be pitching more. So where do most of your leads come from? How predictable is it? Could you tell me today how many leads or clients you'll get next month? What's your current process from someone showing interest to then becoming a client? Again, you can then line yourself up for AI, nurturing sequences, managing the funnel from top to bottom, etc. Are you handling all of this yourself or do you have any team systems behind you? Again, we're trying to distinguish what is working well, what's not. And as soon as we understand they have no system, no team, right? They're getting word of mouth referrals, then we know we've got them, right? So how much time are you personally spending on lead gen or sales each week? This is always going to be minimal, right? Because a lot of business owners, they genuinely do not prioritize the right thing. They prioritize fulfillment all of the time. And actually then they wonder why they can't scale past 20, 30K a month, right? So you've got to be able to look for the bottlenecks in acquisition, the lack of systems, the over-reliance on referrals or even outreach, right? Or people messaging their page, weak lead quality. So the people that are just not interested in their business, conversion issues, right? They might be getting fuck ton of leads, but they can't convert them. So what's going wrong, right? If we can find the real problem behind the surface level frustrations, we can then pitch a solution, but we're not there yet. So don't pitch yet. So this should make sense for you guys for step one. Step two, we need to be able to quantify the cost of the problem, right? I want them, and you guys should want them, to feel the pain, okay? They've just told you about the pain. We need to get them to feel that pain. So you want to get them to feel the cost of the problem. Is it money? Is it time? Is it energy? Is it stress, right? What do you think that issue has cost you over the last 3 to 6 months in terms of lost revenue or opportunities? Okay, then we're going to go even deeper, because one question isn't going to create them pain, right? If that didn't exist, how many more clients could you realistically take on? How does that impact your day-to-day? Does it cause stress and pressure on your business? What other areas of the business is this affecting? We need to paint this full picture of pain, right? Use their numbers and let silence work. Don't rescue them from awkward situations. Again, this here is probably one of the main things that separates a good closer from a bad closer, okay? Now, a bad closer, if you put them in an awkward situation, you'll try and save them yourself, even though you were the one that put them there. Use silence. Let them recognize that they are doing shite as a business and that they need to be doing better, okay? Now, we then need to understand the desired future. So this is goals, right? It's not necessarily future pacing as such, but it is giving you a bit more of an understanding of what they're looking to try and achieve. So where are they currently? Where do they want to be? How are we going to get them there? Now, we're going to shift them from the current pain to the future that they want. So what would a perfect scenario look like for you over the next 6 to 12 months? Okay. We want to understand, okay, the present and the promise, right? Where do they want to be? And this is going to create that emotional buy-in, okay? So in an ideal world, how many new clients would you like to be bringing on monthly? What kind of revenue would you want to be hitting? What would that allow you to do personally? More time off, scaling the team, reinvest into ads. Now, honestly, depending on the prospect, you can even talk about family. You can say about having more time with a family, taking a step back from the business, you know, going skydiving down the fucking Alps. I don't think you can do that, but still, right? Getting that understanding of where they actually want to be, because we don't want to guess that they just want more money, because not everyone does, okay? Some people just want to be able to automate their business and take their wife on holiday 4 times a year, right? That is it. Cool. So we're then going to establish urgency through inaction, okay? So this is like consequence action questioning. Well, yeah, I guess it is. So you must break the I'll fix it later mindset, okay? Because what you'll find is that the prospect may hit you with an objection at the end of the call where it's like, I want to think about it, or I'll do this in a couple months, right? And this is how we're going to do it. We're going to make the cost of waiting real and emotional. So we're going to position it like, let's say nothing changes in the next 6 months. Where does that leave the business, right? At what, like, why does this stay the same? Like, do you want to stay the same? Does that affect your goals? And remember, we discussed the goals. So we're using this against them, okay? So don't just say, does that affect your goals? Say, well, is that going to affect the opportunity for you to go skydiving down the Alps, right? So is that something you're okay with, okay? Again, we're going to be really pushing the emotional side here, because the pitching with confidence is the logical side. We're going to give them the information that we need from a logical standpoint, but we need to create that emotional buy-in first, okay? Now, once we've done that, we need to pitch with confidence. If you're inside Client Capital, we teach you exactly how to pitch with confidence. It's very hard for me to tell you guys how to pitch with confidence when I don't know your offers right now and you're just watching my videos. All I would say is this: you don't always need to actually share your screen and present something. It's more about how you position it, how you get your offer messaging right, and how you're able to kind of transition into the close. So what I've done is, instead of building out pitch of confidence with you, what I've done is I've made sure that you understand how to transition into the close nicely. But if you're unsure on how to pitch with confidence, make sure you click the link in the description and, you know, speak to my team, or even speak to me directly, watch our free training video and see if you are eligible to join the Client Capital program. And we'll teach you exactly how to close, just like we've taught over 150 people. So based on everything we've covered, do you feel like this sounds like the right fit for where you're at and what you're looking to build? Okay. So we've pitched, we've stopped sharing our screen if that's what we've done, right? And we're going to hit them with this line here. This is going to help you. It's kind of like a soft close, right? It's opening the doors, okay? Now, we're kind of lining ourselves up for objection here as well, but that's okay, because you shouldn't be scared of objections. I see a lot of guys online that say, oh, you want to eliminate objections before they happen. And yeah, of course you do, right? But you are always going to have some level of objections, and that's okay. So just get good at it, face it, don't be a pussy, right? Talk to the wife, price, think about it, right? That type of thing. The phrasing does three things, right? So we're going to feel low pressure, and it's a collaborative approach. It's going to open a door for a yes or a no, right? Like if it says no, then we can understand why they say no, okay? If they say yes, then great, okay? We can transition. We're going to surface objections that you can handle. So handling objections is a very tough one for me to kind of cover again, because I have got a whole module inside Client Capital that shows you exactly how to handle objections with confidence. And also I will do a YouTube video where I actually break down a little bit more in terms of objections as well. So if you want to stay tuned for that, then subscribe and I'll show you in the next one. Once we've handled some objections, we're going to secure the payment and map out the onboarding. So just to summarize, guys, we're starting with an authoritative based intro. We're going to build the rapport, okay? We're going to do the framing properly. We're then going to spend all of our time doing the discovery stage, 20 minutes plus, okay? Don't fucking miss this stage. You are going to miss out on money, right? The people that do a 3-minute discovery stage and wonder why their close rate's like 20% or 30%, that's exactly why, right? Honestly, that is exactly why you've not put enough time into this. Pitch with confidence, transition into the close, handle any objections, and secure the payment and move on to the onboarding. Now, when it comes to securing payment, you can use all sorts of different payment processes, and you can make sure that you have a standardized onboarding process, which we can then talk about in future videos. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then make sure you drop it a like, give me a subscribe. And if you are interested in understanding whether you're eligible for the Client Capital program, click the link below, watch our free training video, and I'll be more than happy to see you inside. Take care.